I'm Sierra, and this is my final portfolio. To get started, go ahead and scan this QR code. To move on, we will talk about QR codes. QR is short for quick response, and these codes are easy to use and easy to make with a smart device. However, you never know what will come up when you scan it. And to move on, we are going to go to the QR code generator website. Here you can make a QR with free text, or make it with a URL, contact information, a phone number, or even an SMS. QR codes can fall under the ISTE standards of leader, collaborator, and facilitator. And on to the next project I will talk about. This project is called Voki. Now that I brought you to Voki, it was my project from the beginning of the semester.
Hello, my name is Sierra and I am majoring in secondary education in mathematics.
As you can tell, Voki's voice tends to be a little bit off, but Voki has all kinds of characters. As I click here, to create a character, we need Adobe Flash, and that's one thing that we do need. You need Adobe Flash on your computer. And once you come here, you can see that you can customize your character, give it a voice, give it backgrounds, and here's a randomize button. You can click that and randomize your character. And pro to Voki is that it is fun to use in a classroom. It can help children that are afraid of public speaking. But the con to Voki is that when you're typing the words into the text, that Voki will sometimes not read it clearly, and sometimes the words can jumble together if you don't use correct punctuation. And finally, the standard that Voki falls under is designer and analyst. The next project I'm going to talk about is Powtoon. Powtoon falls under the standard designer also. A pro to this is that it's free to use, and the animations and transitions can make the presentation fun, and you can also add voice. Now that I bring you to Powtoon, here is the areas you can use. Sound is where you can add voice. You can add text, background, scenes, and this was one of my projects that I did at the beginning of the year, and I'll give you what it looks like. As you can tell, you can see that these are the different animations and all that, and it's kind of like a PowerPoint slide, but more interactive. The cons that I found about Powtoon is that on my laptop, it was really buggy, and I heard that on other computers that it can be too. But the real con that I found is that the timing of the animations can become difficult to place, especially if you're trying to do a voiceover, and that it's also limited for the free version, and those are the cons that I found. Next, we have an infographic. As this picture demonstrates, an infographic is data sorted out to be arranged and presented visually. This here was my infographic that I worked on during the semester. As you can tell, there's different sections. The gray bars here is what separates them. And you can also add video, text, icons, and then of course works cited. And I thought this was actually pretty cool. And the standard that an infographic can fall under mainly is a designer, because it's mainly pictures and all that. But however, it can also fall under a learner with certain topics. Like with mine, it can be underneath of learner. Because it has it's explaining like Fab Labs, and that's a part that can fall under learner. And then finally, I'd like to talk about the pros and cons of infographic. I actually found out that infographic is actually really cool because it's good to advertise for things. Like this one shows like what the infographic is, and so it advertises for an infographic, of course. But however, the con that I found with the website that we use, Piktochart, is that I was having difficulty with the text and being able to change it. Alright, so next what we have the assessments. One of the first assessments that I recall are Socrative, and then we had Quizalize, and we also went over Kahoot. All of these assessments can fall under the standards of collaborator, facilitator, and analyst. So here I will show you a couple of these to show you what an assessment really is. This one I have here is the Socrative one. And with this one, I thought it's like you can add different quizzes. There's like fill in the blank. There is multiple choice, true or false, and all kinds of other things that you can do with it. And what I liked about this one is that you can also add like different pictures, like to help give you like a hint. Like for instance, I did this picture to help with a hint of it being jazz. And then this one, it said what does www stand for, so I put a picture of www. Here I then have my Quizalize. Quizalize, you can make different questions, and like here are the questions I have. And then I had hold on. So like if you were to like click on them and like you were to click edit, it'll bring it up, and like you can see how it's set up. It shows the question. It shows the you put the correct answer in the box, and then you put your incorrect answers. You can even pick the time duration. So what's nice with this is that if you have kids that are slower, you can advance the time duration for them, so they have better timing to take the quiz. Finally, this is my Kahoot quiz that I made. I just did simple math problems, but the thing with Kahoot is that it's very fast-paced, and so if you have a student or a child that needs more time to think, this isn't like a good tool to use, because then they can get frustrated for not being able to answer the question quick enough. And finally, throughout all these assessments, I thought they were all really neat tools. They all have their pros and cons, but if you're just looking to do a quiz online for your class, for instance, if you weren't going to be absent as a teacher one day or whatever, and you want to be able to send your student teacher a quiz or something, this is a great way to do it. And that way your class can be able to study maybe for a test or whatever section you're on. Next, we actually have Screencast-O-Matic, and I'm actually using Screencast-O-Matic right now. And when you're actually recording, you can see by this background picture that I added, that you can use just the screen. You can just use your webcam to use it, or you can use both of them. And you can tell how your mic is working, your computer audio, and everything else with that. Here I'm bringing you to one of the screencasts that I did during the semester, and this is pretty much like me voicing over the top of a PowerPoint like I'm doing right now.
Should you join Words You Mean? You may ask. Here are the following reasons why you should.
And with this, like, I ended up like making this like too distorted, and so like when you're make sure when you're actually making this to actually make sure it's not as distorted like I did, and that way it looks better, because I made that mistake when I was here. And as you can tell, I have my URL up here to cite my page.
In Words You Mean, you can make new friends
And
who
then
end up having
here-
a lifetime, which ends up being
Here I kind of messed up.
You make more.
Here I kind of messed up with this, since I should have made like maybe like a different color or something, because then this isn't popping out as much because it's kind of like blending in with the with this, but you kind of get the idea of screencast and how it works.
Jing look fun.
The pro of screencast is that it's free and it's actually easy to use. You can upload the video to Google or even YouTube. But however, this con of this screencast is that it does only record up to 15 minutes for the free version, but you can still always make like more than one video and then just pretty much call it part 1 or part 2. And the standard that this fits under, I would say, is leader and facilitator. Next, on to the other projects we did. We did Nearpod, WordCloud, and the copyright law. Here I brought you to Nearpod, and Nearpod, it has all kinds of different like things, like there's a simulation, there's quiz, there's poll, open-ended questions, and you can also like add more content. There's slides, there's 3D, and you can add stuff from the web. It's pretty much almost anything you can probably almost think of to add for a classroom to help them study. And I also think that Nearpod is actually kind of like another kind of assessment, but with everything else that it includes is really nice to use. And also with Nearpod being like another assessment, it also kind of falls under the standards of a collaborator. Here I brought you to WordArt, and WordArt is like you just pretty much enter in like random words, and then it pretty much will make a picture over here then. So for instance, like this already has word and art in it, so like I'll just add just cloud, and then you just click visualize, and it makes like the cloud for you. And you can also change the shape, you can change the fonts, the layouts, and the style. I think WordArt is like a good tool to use, especially for like advertisement or just for you being in like maybe your favorite things to do. To put like as a teacher, you can just put it up in your classroom as a decoration. Like for instance, I can put this up in my room or something because it explains to me like it has my interest in it, my name, and the things that I'm in. And this was based off of my project that I did for my infographic. And then WordCloud can fall underneath of the standard of designer because you're pretty much making like a picture and everything like that. And then finally, we have copyright law, and it pretty much grants the creator of their own work so that no one can take or claim their work as their own. And with copyright law, it's always good to make sure you cite anything you take from the internet, books, etc. to be safe, which then brings me to the end, and this shows my work cited. And just so this pretty much follows copyright law, and that is pretty much the end of my project.